In countries emerging from violent conflict, the threads that hold society together, a sense of trust and justice, are badly damaged. Armed combatants roam free. Police may be feared, and old grievances continue to simmer. Created in 2007 within the Department of Peacekeeping Operations, the United Nations Office of Rule of Law and Security Institutions, known as OROLSI, assists post-conflict countries in re-establishing the security and justice systems necessary to consolidate a long-term peace.
We are trying to create a system of rule of law and security which could serve a nation for a longer-term period of time and which could develop into civilized societies.
Justice and security deficits have been the reason for relapse into conflict in some peacekeeping contexts, and OROLSI exists to fill that gap.
At the request of national authorities, OROLSI is currently deployed across 15 peace missions. It provides direct support to peacekeeping operations.
Many of the OROLSI people are what I call early peace builders, and everyone knows that peace building should start at the outset of a peacekeeping operations.
Historically, our missions had an impartial role in the monitoring of ceasefire agreement. This was primarily a military role. From the 1990s onward, the importance of the police, but also other civil affairs functions, such as support to the judiciary and support to correction services, was increasingly recognized.
With the end of the Cold War, the UN has increasingly responded to intra-state conflict and civil wars. This has required a new, holistic approach to peacekeeping to ensure the implementation of complex peace agreements. In order to implement this multidimensional approach, OROLSI has integrated 5 key areas of peacekeeping.
The 5 areas are simple ones: police, justice and corrections, mine action, disarmament and demobilization, and a new area, security sector reform.
The United Nations Mine Action Service clears the landmines and bombs that threaten populations long after conflicts have ended.
In the initial phases, mine action may be required to enable peacekeepers to deploy and to enable humanitarian aid to be distributed to the local population. In the longer term, mine action is required to enable rebuilding to begin and, in due course, to enable victims to be assimilated back into their communities.
The process of disarming, demobilizing and reintegrating ex-combatants into society begins early in the peace process. Often a provision of the peace agreement, it is a confidence-building measure and a precondition for further steps towards peace.
What happens during that process is that combatants relinquish their status as soldiers or combatants and then become civilians. So it really is a psychological process as well as a legal transformation of the status of a person from being a combatant into a civilian.
Once ex-combatants have laid down their arms, their reintegration into civilian society is crucial. OROLSI provides the technical expertise and neutral assistance to guide this process.
These days, reintegration strategies are very much focused on the market analysis and absorption capacity of the country. The key thing is that it should serve as a bridge from being a combatant and a soldier to being able to make a living, to have a livelihood in a civilian economy.
In many post-conflict countries, the police are under-equipped and lack basic skills. In some cases, they are staffed by former combatants still operating with a military mentality.
The important is to get the host government police to be up to the international standards, and it's basically to build a new police organization based on democratic principles.
Whereas in Timor-Leste, the UN received an executive mandate to actually undertake policing operations, in the majority of cases, OROLSI is deployed to help national authorities develop police capacity.
One of the major activities that we have is capacity building, and in that we do have training, advisory and mentoring. Sometimes it's actually basic policing skills. Sometimes we also actually recruit and help them in the vetting process to make sure they get the best possible police officers into the new organization.
When you talk about building the capacity of the police, Of course, what happens afterwards? Those individuals get arrested. So you need at the same time to build the capacity of the judiciary. This is absolutely critical. The judiciary, bar association and related service, as well as prison institution. Thus recognizing the importance of the criminal justice chain as a whole.
The Criminal Law and Judicial Advisory Service has two distinct professional teams, Justice and Corrections. The need for well-trained and non-corrupt lawyers and judges is fundamental for restoring faith in the justice system and instilling confidence that crimes are not committed with impunity. Sadly, the importance of a humane prison system is often tragically neglected.
Very often prisons take the lowest priority in any rule of law systems. They are dramatic from the standpoint of human rights, health, security. So it is important for us to assist professional prison development from the early stages of our work on the ground.
Reforming the security sector is pivotal to the development of democratic governance. Armed, uniformed personnel must respond to the needs of the population and perceive themselves as public servants. It is imperative for these security agencies to become accountable for their actions and subject to the rule of law.
Take, for example, that poor ordinary woman who has been raped in Eastern Congo. What would it take to make her feel safer? Imagine the soldiers have new uniforms, new guns, they dress more sharply. Do you think that will make that woman feel safer? No. Because if she doesn't feel that there's a way of controlling them, actually you're making her feel more threatened. So the element of what makes her feel safer must include laws that she knows these people have to obey. If they don't obey, there will be consequences.
The role of peacekeepers as early peace builders will continue to evolve with the changing nature of conflict. This is precisely where OROLSI's unique expertise can contribute to a lasting peace.
Peacekeeping in the 21st century will require new tools, new expertise, very professional attitude, rapidly deployable specialists. And that's why we have to create synergies with others, to provide them with the best of expertise available in the area which we are covering and help them to assess, plan and deliver on the ground, to deliver as one. It is precisely in those areas where OROLSI will contribute best in the years to come.
And it is very important for us, more and more, if we want to prepare our exit strategy from peacekeeping, to have a sustained rule of law institutions in the country where we operate. And for that, the expertise of OROLSI, who work of course in very good synergy with so many other actors in the field, is critical.
Efforts to promote peace and development are more likely to succeed when peacekeeping is a part of a peace-building strategy right from the start. Police, justice, corrections, these are among the pillars any society needs to ensure the rule of law and build a better world for all.